Hi, my name is Matt. This is the 16th part of the tutorial series when we are creating an RPG game mechanics, and this is supposed to be the last part of the inventory creation, but it definitely won't be because the GUI takes some time to create, at least for me personally. So I think we need 2 more videos. But I will talk about it at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and start right now. So let's start by making our icons doing something, and I will go here into my inventory menu. I will add some public properties like public color, icon active, and icon not active. I will also create a public enum called icon filter, because those icons will use for filtering our inventory, and we'll just have 5 of them: weapon, armor, potion, and arrow. Okay, and we need an instance, public icon filter, icon filter. So far nothing's new. I will quickly go here and yes, the script is missing because I've tried something before the video. And looks like I've renamed inventory because I've realized that I've misclicked and I've lost something. So we need a reference to item frame. Here we go. No problem. Icon active will be basically white, and icon not active will be basically gray, dark gray. Let's take this one and actually make it a little bit darker, like this. Okay. Now all we have to do, well, let's say if it's working, if I haven't damaged anything. Okay, looks like I did, because we've lost our inventory list, so I do not know what happened actually. Yes, probably when renaming I've got into execution order. Yes. So we need to add an inventory menu over here and hit apply. So you want to experience these problems. It's just my bad, because I've realized that I typed inventory and I tried to rename it. Okay, I'm sorry, and I'm back. So now we've got 2 colors, and all we have to do is when we click an icon, we change its color and we change this enum value. So this is our goal. So how do we achieve it? First, let me just create an array of those icons, and to do that we will need a script, I think, that will change the color. So I will create a script called inventory icon. I will open it, and you probably noticed that I've closed some scripts that weren't necessary. Well, we need UI enum space all we have to do is to set an image reference and set it in a wake function. Game object that get component image, and after that I will create a function called change color, and it will be public, void and it will take a color, and it will just set the color given as a parameter to our image. This is very simple script, I think. I will add this script over here. So now we need a list or an array of those here to have a reference for them. So I will create a public inventory icon. Those brackets means that this is array. I will call it icons. It's probably enough. I do not have to use constructor, I guess. Let's say 5, not 50. And I will just drag and drop manually. When I drag and drop a game object, it automatically finds a script, because this is the list of scripts. Now we've got it. So now I will create an event trigger. I will go ahead and create pointer down, and first I want to make every icon inactive, so I will create a function that does it over here. Public void disable icons without any parameter, of course, and I will just make for each icon inventory icon in icons, I will that change color, and what I will pass, of course, the color called icon not active. And here, when clicked, I will first do this function. So I drag drop a game object called frameList, because the script, the function exists is assigned to it. Then I go to the inventory menu and find the function called disable icons. So when click this calls a function called disable icons, and then I need another, which is this. Can I just do it like that? Looks like I cannot pass the color as a parameter. So I will create another function over here. I will void active icon, and I will just pass an integer called icon ID. And I will just icons of icon ID that change color active icon active. Now I just have to set everything up So I will create another script. This is the same actually, or the same script, a function called active icon, and here the ID will be 0. Now I'm ready to click copy component, paste component as new every 4 times, and just manually change the number. Let's see if it's working. Yes, it does, but I want at start set one icon chosen, so over here I will active icon of 0, and maybe before I will disable icons just in case that someone will change color, default color over here. So now I've got the back, and I can change this, but we still have to change the icon filter enum. But after activating an icon, I will just step switch icon ID and case 0 break and icon filter equals icon filter.all, and I will copy this sometimes and change this. Whoops, no default. For weapon, armor, potion, armor. So what I am doing, so when activating an icon, I will check an ID and change this enumeration that I've showed and created before to what it has to be. So now when I play the game, now I've got weapon, armor, you see over here it's changing, potion, armor. So yes, this is just an enum, and now over here I want just display those items that are type of either weapon, armor, potion or other, or just I want to show all when the bag icon is selected. But before, I've just realized something very important that I didn't know, and it may cause some changes to our project. So first, I've created and I've written some lines, I've added new items, and let's add them to inventory and save the inventory. So when I start the game, this will go ahead, add those items and save the inventory. I go ahead, save the inventory, and now I do not need it anymore. I will uncomment it because inventory was safe, but I will load it. And let's say that weapon, I will just print yes, or just yes. So basically I will just print yes on my console every time an object in inventory is a weapon, and you remember inventory is list of items, but weapon inherits from item. So I should get some, yeah, should be 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. But when I change it, let's say I change size and change it back 10, so I didn't touch them, and now I hit F5 to save the inventory. Yeah, and I load it again, so it looks like I've loaded the same, but there is no console information, so they've just lost every item. They are just items now, they are not weapons anymore. So I thought when serializing it works okay. It looks like I was horribly wrong. I'm sorry. Well, they're actually not that bad. At least I've realized it's in like 16th episode, not like 100. So let's fix this. First, I will create a constructor for item, because we've got our other like here, and we need a constructor for our just an item class, because it wasn't any. And when I type constructor, we've got a problem, because now all of them we've got an error in every other constructor, which sounds a little bit abstract. But anyway, because the item constructor is doing always before a constructor for a class that inherits from item, we can delete all of this from here, and from here. And what I will do, I will just type base, and I need all of this, but without the keywords. Without string, bool, int, weight, and mol. And I will copy this a few times, and now we can use constructor for weapon, potion, and armor as we did, and we also have a constructor for item. And once again, when making an weapon constructor, we first call assign basic properties with item constructor, and then we use assigning the damage or heal value or melee range or anything. Okay, so let's add, so what we do here, well, unfortunately I suggest just to add more lists. I will create a public list of weapon called inf weapon, and as I realize we don't need a constructor, armor, inventory armor, and potion, inventory potions, and item like other. Now we have to do a lot other changes. First is inventory. So step by step. First we need a few other classes: weapon, armor, potion, data, potion, armor, and here we have to assign everything. Inventory weapon, inventory armor, potion, other, and then everything remains same. Then the same on load, but looks like we cannot do it in one line anymore. So let's say that we need an inventory data ID equals this, because we are deserializing an inventory data class. Then we will inventory weapon equals ID that weapon data, inventory armor equals ID that armor data, inventory potion equals ID that potion data, inventory other equals ID that other data. Okay, looks like we've dealt, but let's add another public void called add to inventory, because now we've got for list, not one, and we are adding something we do not know really where to add it. So add to inventory, and first this is a void, so we are passing an item. This time the generic should work, classes inheritance should work. So if item is weapon let's try this. I'm not sure if it will work, but let's try. Inventory weapon that add, let's typecast it to be sure. Else if item is armor, and I will make inventory armor potion, and he will be potion, and else inventory other that add, no typecast, just it. Okay, now we do not use inventory that add, we use add to inventory. So I press Ctrl H and I rename this. I hope it's working. Oh, looks like it isn't. Of course, it isn't working. Okay. Okay, for now I will just comment this out because, well, there's a little bit of confusion over here. One extra mistake. Yes, that add to inventory. Okay. Now we've got for list instead of one. looks like. And nothing is displayed because I've commented. Looks like we've managed to deal with it. I mean, when I find the item on the game, I will take this. Yes, it is added to the items. So, okay, so I think we've managed to get out of this. Yes, it was my mistake. I was sure that it's serialized in a proper way, but looks like it loses all of its unique properties. And actually, now I think about it, I do not know why I thought that. Anyway, I'm sorry, we lost a little bit of time. So now let's deal with it, because we've got 4 lists instead of 1. So, well, let's create a function called draw item. Which was basically like this. Of course, this will be item name, item weight, item value. And now I will comment this in case something goes wrong, but it shouldn't. Now we can go through every list, and we also need to pass I, or like idx, which is how far we will move it. Of course, it's named idx. I mean, it's not idx. Let's name it I, like it was. It tells us how much item frames we have drawn already, and how much space we have to move another temporary game object. So, like you remember probably. So first, we go with weapon, inventory weapon, that count, and for every weapon here we call draw item with player inventory, that inventory weapon of I as an item and I as a I. And here we will go into inventory armor, and here we will plus I plus that inventory weapon that count. Why? Because with -1, I guess, but we will see later. Why? Because we've made this space for these items we've already drawn, plus what we're drawing right now, and the same for potions. Plus I, and the last for other. plus okay. And now what we have to do, instead of multiplying this by count of these guys, we need to multiply it by instead of adding them, I have another idea, which is basically we need another variable called rect size. We will set it to 0, and every time here we call this function, we will increment it. And we do not need I parameter, and here we will multiply it by rect size. And I think it's lots of easier. Because now we remember how much frames we've drawn in another variable. So here we can just type this guy. Oh, now just let's hope it will work. Yes, looks like it does. But we are scaling this. Okay, so what I suggest to do is to stop the scale, the moving this guy left and right. I think we must uncheck horizontal. Okay, we have to do it again in a scene mode. And now, how do we manage what is drawn and what is not? We just make a for loop for like if icon filter small I icon filter that is equal to icon filter that all, or icon filter is equal to icon filter that weapon, which basically means that go into this for loop when icon filter is either set to all when you draw everything and either set to weapon. I will copy paste this a few times. Armor potion order, and let's see right now. Now it's drawn everything, and when I set this guy to 1 to be weapon, I start, we've got just weapons. So I will see if it's working for other guys, like potion. Yes, potion. The problem is we cannot change it like that because the inventory isn't drawn again, because it's drawn only in start function. Actually, I can get rid of this for now, but it isn't that hard because we can just make a void called draw inventory, or like update inventory, and I will just move it like here, and I will call this function here. Let's see if it's working. It should. Yes, it does. And every time when this trigger is called, I will add a function called, well, maybe I do not have to, because I'm already calling function called activate icon. So after that I can update inventory. Let's see. Oops. Stack Overflow expression. So how do we fix this? Well, first of all, why is this problem? Because we are calling update inventory, which calls activate icon, which calls update inventory, because we've set it over here, and they are calling themselves unless stack is overflow. So probably they were called a few million times unless a computer decided to kill it. So I will just leave them too, because you know active icon calls update inventory. Okay, then we need to set this active. I've already did it, but when I was trying something, and yes, you just have to type item frame that's set active. And then we need to add a list system.collections.generic. We need a public list of item frames. Just to have the references, because then we have to delete all of this stuff. But before, let's see if it's working. You see it does, but you know that direct isn't refilled, and the frames aren't deleted, and they are supposed to be. Okay. So we need a reference, as I said, public list item frames. And I will item frames that add, and I will add temporary item frame. So now our list contains item frames, and when drawing an inventory, we can, for example, delete everything, because we tap Y item frame that count is different than 0. Game object go equals item frames of 0 that game object, and item frames that remove 0, remove at, I don't know, remove at, it takes an index 0, and game object that destroy this game object. Let's see. You know, all of them is removed before drawing another, but the rect isn't refilled, and I want to explain it more carefully. So I have a list of item frame, and actually it doesn't have to be public, there's no reason. You can either hide this in inspector or set it to private. And well, when it's, so I have a list of item frames, and here when I'm updating inventory, while I have any item frame, which means that the count is different than 0, I take the game object because when I'm typing item frame of 0, the game object is the game object that the script item frame is assigned to. Then I remove the item frame from the list over here. Remove at index 0, meaning that every other item is shifted left, so the item that was at index 1 becomes index 0, etc. And I destroy the game object that is assigned to the script that I just removed. I'm not sure how does it work with the for loop, so I've decided to do it like this. Okay, so the last thing is the rect transform. So I will just type rect transform equals new vector 2, or the vector to 0, 0. Maybe it will work. I hope so. Oh gosh, it worked a minute ago. Did changing to does it really have to be public? Wow, I wasn't really expecting this. Okay, I will just hide this in inspector. This flag means that it will be still public. It won't affect the job of the script, but it won't be visible in inspector because we actually don't need it. Okay, so once again I will vector to that 0, which means I'm just making them as they were before we started the game, I think. Yes. So now we've got everything set normally. You see. Another problem that you may overcome is basically when I open, for example, an armor inventory and I scroll, you don't touch scroll, and it goes like this. And that's because the rect scroll script is trying to centralize this around this guy. So what to do? Let's take the item list, grab this like that, and you see here this is a height, and this is a height. This value is constant. I mean, no matter what resolution we are, no matter what size, this value is same. And this is the value that we've been added. So what we have to do is to just do it max, let's say like this for now. Like this. What it basically tells us, I will also type it here, math divided by 2, and this is a constant size that you can change later on, but I think it will work. Let's see. Now there's no scrolling. evolve. I mean, they move a little bit and you can experiment with this value, but that's the general idea. And when we add like more of them, let's add this. We are scrolling correctly, and over here no scrolling involved. So that's one extra feature. And now let's make those lists of either weapons or stuff like that sorted. How do we make subclasses of item sorted? Well, first, in order to sort something, we need to know how to compare one object to another. And for that, we need to implement an interface. So I will just type using system, and over here I will just add a comparable, and the type is also weapon, which means I'm just declaring that oh, it's actually very nice. When you click this button, you get this function written. Actually, it's very cool. And what I'm doing here, I'm implementing something called interface. It's like a contract. I mean, I'm declaring that this class will be comparable with another object of type weapon. And here, this function was created by Visual Studio, but you can write it by your own. This function called, I don't need this, compare to, and it actually will be used for some scripts to compare to objects like that. So whenever I have, like, imagine that I have two objects, weapon 1 and weapon 2, and every time I type something like if weapon 1 is less than weapon 2 or something like that, it will use this function to check this condition. And this function returns an integer when the number is negative. The item passed over here is greater or less. We will see. Okay, so I will just type return 0 because I must return something, and here, because it's a weapon, we want the damage to be compared. So I will just return. In order to return 0, I will return the image is less than or minus other than the image. And what that means is whenever I call this, it will return a value, positive, negative, or 0, based on this. And I will show you how this works actually. Let's say I will do it on a start. Over here I will just call a sort method on my weapons list. And you remember the order when I added? It was great sort, greater sort, dragonbane, and actually it was great sort, the greatest sort, dragonbane, and greater sort. And when I play the game, nothing has really happened. I don't know why. Actually it's working, but it's sorted in increasing order, and I want it to be sorted in decreasing order. So I will just multiply this by -1, like here. And also, if the damage will be equal, is equal to I will return string.compare. I will return that name. I will return the string which is lexicographically first. So it's basically A is less than AA, less, like that. So this will actually sort it by name when the damage that the both items deal is the same. And I can actually add weapon which deals very same damage, but let's name it I don't know, Zephyr, and it will be under the greater sword that deals the same damage, even though I will add it before. So save the scripts, go ahead, launch the game. So you see the greater sword does exactly the same damage, but it's G is before Z in alphabet, so that's why greater sword is before. So now we need to add the compare to function to other items, some classes like potion. Come on, add it to me. And here, this will be very same. But not the damage, but the heal value. And other case, I will just return and I will also multiply it by -1, and actually that's, so I will do it just like this. Actually it makes more sense than multiplying by -1, like here. Okay, now for armor I will also add an interface. And here it is some kind of generic programming, and we need to type armor because we declare that then some class armor will be comparable with another object of class armor. We can compare different objects. For example, when I type weapon here, armor will be comparable with weapon and stuff like that. I think it's easy now. I will also duplicate this, change it a little bit. If melee defense is equal to other melee defense, so if melee defense is same, if ranged defense is same, when both armors share the same melee defense and range defense, I will return the difference in name, else I will return the difference in range defense, and in another case I will just return difference in melee defense, other than melee defense minus melee defense. And actually I don't need brackets because, and I'm going to return this. Okay, but now we've written this line 3 times and it's something that you don't want really to do. So I think we can create another function. Actually we cannot. Okay, I will leave it like this. Who cares? And here in item just I will add I will implement an interface, of course. And here I will return just the difference in name. And yes, Microsoft Visual Studio tells me that I do not need to type string, but I like to do it just because it's my personal reference. Okay, and now let's okay, so I will sort all of those actually. But we need to sort it actually every time we update something. So here for every single list after an adding we will need to sort it. I know we can use a sorted list and binary search to do it automatically, or like do not sort it because sorting algorithm takes some time. But actually it's the simplest way. It's very easy to actually get. And I think that it's worth to have everything, keep everything as simple as possible. So okay, I just took a sort. Looks like it's worse. So let's see. What is the damage? The damage is 5. The next is also 5, but no, actually, okay, so it's sorted properly. So when I change it like to something big, when I take it, you see now it's first. Okay, so I will now comment all of this stuff and use my load inventory because why not? And I will leave it sorting just in case something will go wrong and it will be saved unsorted, but it shouldn't really happen. Okay, so but I will just see if it's working. Yes, it does. Okay, so the last problem that we have to overcome today is the problem with all inventory right now. The problem with all inventory is now it's sorted like we've got all the weapons sorted, the armor sorted, potions sorted, and other items that are known actually in this moment also sorted. It isn't actually what we want, but I think that so many complications done in this video, I will just do it another time. And actually we didn't touch even item preview or stats, but it's actually very time consuming to create a UI like this. I mean for me actually, personally, I think working with UI takes a little bit time, so I'm definitely sure that 5 episodes aren't enough to show everything. I think honestly we need like 2 or 3 more. I think 2, and then I think we should completely change the topic because items and inventory might get boring, and I will do whatever I can to create next 2 videos in the following week. Okay, so thanks for watching and till next time, goodbye.